Welcome, Michelle London. Welcome to my
Thank
YouTube
you.
channel. How are you today?
I'm feeling great. So happy to be here, seeing your pretty face.
Oh, seeing your pretty face. Um, so this is a new podcast we're doing on YouTube. Thank you for showing up, Stacy and Bassiani, and our first guest is Michelle London. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Michelle.
Okay, so I guess I would consider myself a spiritualist first and foremost, but I am also a Karuna, Holy Fire 3 Karuna Reiki Master. I know I always say it's so much, but that's what I am. And I'm a seeker of spiritual connection. And I also have done QHHT with Stacy in the past. Stacy is my teacher, my certification teacher for Reiki. She certified me in all levels. Um, and also, I do advanced light language and I also do trance channeling as well.
Yeah, so you expanded so much after doing some
Oh,
sessions and
yeah, I know.
continuing your learning and practicing. And I remember when you came to me, you had the channel of saying yes or no. That
Right.
was that was fun. That was Reiki training.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember when we were fooling around with that.
Yeah.
And I think that you're like the first person that I shared that with because that's something that I had practiced my whole life. I mean, not my whole life, but it was introduced to me in my mid 20s. This practice of connecting to your spirit guides through a very simple method of connection, which is moving of the head. So in a way, it's like body dowsing. I know a lot of people do body dowsing where they're standing and they can have their body move back and forth for like a yes, and then side to side for a no when they ask them direct questions. Very simply, yes or no questions. Um, and so it's just a matter of that, but using my head. So we were playing around with that,
Mm.
when
Which thank you for that because I can do this now and I can ask like yes and no. So my yes would be this and my no would be that. So I use my
really,
heart chakra for that.
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So you inspired
That's
me to do
great.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And you inspired me to actually take that a step further when we were fooling around with that. And you suggested, like you really need to explore this further and get off this gravy train of just limiting it to like a yes, no, and have a deeper connection to your guides where you can hear, more instruction, more
Yeah.
insights that are more complex, telepathic communication in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And that's what led me to want to develop a channeling, connection. And I seeked it out. I'm sorry, I have a frog in my throat, but I looked
It's
high and
okay.
low. I looked high and low after our session together and after us fooling around with that practice. I'm like, where can I go to like find somebody who can teach me how to do this on a deeper level? And there was a lot out there. There was a lot of online module type classes, but I wanted to have, that human connection. I wanted to have like a live experience. And the only person that I could find, I found somebody in Knoxville, Tennessee. Her name is Rachel Chamness, and she has a business called Sound Waves Heal. And I took a very intensive channeling course with her that included light language because I found out during the course that light language is a form of channeling, and so it's a natural addition to learning how to channel, which is to incorporate light language with that. And that's where I
Yeah.
learned how to do that, and that sort of like opened up the floodgates to a
Which,
lot of different things.
yeah, which you had me thinking about that. And I did a Sarah Landon channeling
I
and
know Sarah Landon.
yeah, and found a
She's
buddy
amazing.
and we did it and then it just keeps going from there. But the channeling is easier than you think, right? It's just practice.
It's just practice. And it's so funny. I was just talking to somebody about this 2 days ago, and I still question it. It's a matter of trust. But every time that I channel, because it's sort of like the newest addition to my bag of tricks, my tools, my spiritual bag of tricks. The channeling is sort of the newest thing, and I think it does take more practice because it's just building up your confidence.
Yeah.
Because I always say, was that coming from me or was that coming from, I'm always questioning that still, even though I've been doing it for 2 years, I'm still questioning
Right.
it.
But if it
Um,
resonates with that person, that's all that matters.
yes,
You know,
yes,
take it
because
if it resonates, take it if it doesn't.
see, the thing with channeling is that you have to offer it to people. You can't be
Yeah.
channeling by yourself.
Yeah.
Although there are ways that you can automatic write,
Yeah.
and that's a form of channeling, or you can journal, that's a form of channeling. Any creative
Yeah.
like process that you're doing is a form of channeling. So everybody is really channeling without consciously realizing that they're doing it. So what you've practiced with Sarah and what I practiced with Rachel is more of a conscious way of doing it.
Yeah.
So we're consciously channeling. And again, if you go back to all these like master channelers who are famous, like
Mhm.
Bashar,
Mhm.
um, he
Law of
is
attraction, Abraham Hicks.
Abraham Hicks, exactly, all of
Yeah.
that. They're more of I guess, a
A,
subconscious
a
channeling where they
conscious or a
remove,
conscious channel, maybe.
well, they kind of remove themselves from the scene. Lee Harris is another one who kind of removes himself from the scene,
Yeah.
where he doesn't have total recall when he comes out of the trance as to what it is he's
Right.
saying. So there's all different
Yeah.
types of channeling. There are all different ways of channeling. I'm more of a conscious channeler, so I really am aware of the conversation flow of what's being said,
Yeah.
um, which makes me doubt. Is that coming from me or is
Well,
that coming from the entity or the person, the being that I'm channeling?
that sounds like Paul Selig. He does that too, and he sits
Yes,
there and questions it sometimes, and that's that's the lessons, isn't it?
it is. It
The
really truly
practice.
is.
It's the
It's a
practice.
lesson of trust and surrender to the process.
Yeah. So how is it evolving your teaching now? Tell us about your teaching and how that's evolving.
Yeah, so it really was a matter of logistics for me because
Yeah.
after I was certified as a master practitioner through you, I knew that I wanted to eventually teach
Yeah.
because it's what I did in my last job
Hmm.
and it comes very naturally to me. So I knew that eventually I was wanting to explore that. But logistically, I don't have an office space like you do. I know it's very commonplace for Reiki practitioners to do it in their home, which is what I do. I do, my one on one individual live sessions here in my
Up
home.
a little bit there.
Um, but doing a class is something different. I really don't have the space. And
Yeah.
so that led me to like really try to be creative and figure out where can I, find the space to
Yeah.
do this without having to rent the space, you
Hmm.
know? Um, and I found that I just started with my local library.
Which
I
is
started,
amazing.
I
Yeah.
just went there and I'm like, she had no idea what Reiki circles were. So
Mm.
that's where I started with Reiki circles.
Yeah.
And I started doing that a little bit in the library now. So that just every library is different, and you're going to find out
Yeah.
if you want to do that. Some people have different budgets. Different libraries have different ways of going about taking on courses that they bring on to the library that they offer to their
Yeah.
patrons. But this particular, my library in Great Neck, New York, was just, it was very easy. Once I, knocked on their door basically and reached out to them, that's all that it took. So they have they have a small budget, so I can't really do functions at the library a lot because they have a very limited budget. So it's like maybe once or twice a year. But then also, I was getting flyers in my local town about the Great Neck Community Center. They have it's part of the Great Neck educational system within here, within the town that I live in Great Neck. It's just an extension of it. So they have a separate from the high schools and the middle schools, they have a separate center here in town that offers adult education, and they do yoga classes and they do jewelry making and all kinds of lectures on books and things like that. And I'm like, why not? So
Yeah.
I just like contacted the person, the director, and I says, I'm a Reiki practitioner and I want to start doing the certification courses. And we worked it out,
Wow. See,
that we could
it's
do it
just
there.
getting yourself out there. And I
Hmm.
remember when I was doing it, I did go to the library. I couldn't get into the library, but I just gave up on that one library,
Yeah.
but then I ended up in wellness centers, like acupuncture centers. They rent you a room for the day or by the hour. So it's just having that passion and that calling that this is what you want to do. And it all works out, doesn't it?
It does. And it's just like, sitting there, literally sitting there at home watching TV, and I just have a thought in my head.
Yes.
Why not? Why not? And then follow through with it. And that's when we're
Yes.
really connecting to our spirit guides. That's when we're connecting to our higher self and
Mhm.
following through on that. And once you follow through on that thought, instead of analyzing it and
Exactly.
over analyzing it and then just killing it
You
with the
have to
over
do it right away.
analyzation, you got to
Yeah.
do it. You
You
got to
get the
act. You
thought.
got to act.
That was like the Reiki
Absolutely.
camp. It just came in, and I'm like, okay,
Well,
let's go do this.
I know so many people, my husband included, who like, and my son is like this too.
Yeah.
They take an idea and they kill it before they even,
Right.
you know, make it manifest because they're
Yeah.
over
Stay in the
analyzing
right
it to death.
side. Stay in the right side of the mind when you do
Absolutely.
that, because the
And the
left
same
side
thing
will
that happens,
critique it.
kill you. Right. And the same thing happened to me once I started that trajectory with the Great Neck Center doing Reiki certification courses. I had another thought. And
Yeah.
I'm like, my son went to a community college. I'm like, why not call them? I'm not a
Yeah.
certified, I don't have a college degree, guys. So, I mean, I am living proof that you don't have to have a
Mhm.
college degree to actually go into a local community college
Right.
and just say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I would like to do. And I created a whole course. It's not a Reiki
Yeah.
certification course, which initially was my intention, but we logistically couldn't figure out how to work it within their system.
Right.
Meaning because how the lineage, the William Rand lineage requires a textbook, and we
Yeah.
just logistically couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm like, you know what? Let me just create a course, a spiritual course
Perfect.
out of
Yeah.
thin air. I'll make it a 6-week course. And she's like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And that's been amazing.
That works out. I was teaching in a private school. They wanted me to do the same in a private school. I'm
Hmm.
like, pinch me. This is a miracle. Um,
Yeah.
and nurses teach it
Hmm.
at
Yeah.
hospitals. So it's really becoming mainstream.
Hmm. It really is. It's been great.
It's been great. Yeah. So it keeps expanding as well. As long as you follow your steps, your guides, you're just keeping connected, doing your
Hmm.
meditations, and you're progressing beautifully, you're expanding beautifully. What is the growth in the future for you?
Just I really don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I have some little ideas in the back of my head, but the trick is exactly what you said, Stacy, is just following your passion. Whatever pops into your head in that moment, follow through with
Yeah.
it and see where it's going to lead you because that's where
Yeah.
all the synchronicities happen.
Well, that's what
You know,
Bashar says in Law of
yep.
Attraction. We just have to put it into action,
Yeah, absolutely. So,
inspired action.
yeah. And so I have written a book because that's something that I
Oh,
have um I think in the back of my mind, my whole life, I always felt like there was a book in me.
there's a book.
And there's a book in me. And I just, I never knew what that book was going to be. I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be, I don't know, a memoir or something like that. But it turned into once I started my channeling journey, that's what triggered this book writing. And this book that I have written, and I'm in the process right now of editing it with a publisher that I found in California. And
Amazing.
that all happened through synchronicities too, because I went on a retreat in Sedona. I was just so pulled to this retreat that came across my email
Hmm.
by somebody who I am really, really connected to. Lisa Royal Holt was going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
part of that retreat, and she was going to do a CE5, which really resonated with me, which
Hmm.
is connecting to extraterrestrials through hiring your frequency in a
Yeah,
group setting, outdoors. That's what a CE5 is. And so she was offering this at the tail end of this retreat. And I'm like, I am so there.
I have to
And
go. Yeah.
that's where I found my publisher.
Oh,
Who knew?
wow.
Who knew?
Synchronicities. Yeah,
Synchronicities. This is just an example of
that's amazing.
following your heart and following, like, I had such a drive to, and guess what? I was still working full time in my job at the time that I booked this retreat.
Wow.
3 months later, I lost my job. Now, Stacy, I have been telling you for the past 2 years, my job is ending. My job is ending. The writing is on the wall. I can
Yeah.
see it happening. When is it going to happen? I don't know. You know what I
And it
mean?
just
But it
did.
happened
Yeah.
3 months after I booked this retreat. If it
Mhm.
happens before, I
You
might
wouldn't
not
have.
have booked the retreat because I'm like, oh, I can't
uh,
afford it now. I don't have like money flow.
Well, that's trusting the universe, isn't it?
Yeah,
They have a plan. We have to just chill out, relax, and follow the breadcrumbs. Um, where would
absolutely.
where would people find you for a channeling or Reiki teaching or anything that you're offering?
Just on my website, and I'm always growing and expanding my services and my
Mhm.
website as you are as well.
Yeah.
Um, and it's www.wheatonchaff.com. And that's you can find me, you can contact me through my website and you can see all the list of services that I'm currently offering.
Thank you, Michelle. It was very nice having you on today. If anyone has any questions, you can add them down below. I'll put the links in the video. And thank you very much for coming on today. And hopefully we'll have you back with any questions from our audience.
It's
Thank you,
my
everyone.
pleasure. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.